This is Tech Pulse.
Coming up today on Tech Pulse, we're talking about a gamer that does something drastic just to play games. Apple iOS 7 offers new security and app features for businesses, and LeapPad Ultra Kids tablet unveiled with a friendly new child browser. All of this and more coming up today on Tech Pulse. This is Tech Pulse for June 27th, 2013. So if you're looking to start your summer, you better start quick because summer is going fast. You know, it's already the 27th of June, and this is the show where you get all your news and reviews and everything you need dealing with the tech world, starting with the top stories of the day. Top stories starting off. Now, Devin, this is something that I read, and I'm like, man, this just brings a whole new, not whole new, but it continues that age-old debate where people have had, and I'm sure you've heard it, where people have, blamed the gaming industry for all sorts of violence and all sorts of, child deviant behaviors. It's the gaming industry that's the cause. Well, once again, we have a Chinese teenager over there in China who, according to this report by Geeks.com, Chinese teenager that sold his kidney, Devin, to pay for his video game habit. Now, what he was saying. Now, obviously, selling your organs on the black market is pretty silly, just to say the least, stupid, and not to mention dangerous to do. But for a good second in China, a teenager has decided to do just that, and has hit the headlines because of its relation to video games. The first time the Chinese media got upset about such a sale was back in 2011 when a teenager desperate to own his own iPad 2 sold one of his kidneys in order to be able to afford one. This time, another teenager sold his kidneys, but this 18-year-old, the guy is 18. I don't know what the legal age is in China to be adulthood or whatnot, but obviously here in the U.S. it would be 18. 18 years old. He wasn't after no Apple iPad device or anything like that. No, he apparently needed money, according to him, to pay off his video game debts. Now, the teen only has we only know his surname, Zhang, Z-H-A-N-G, Zhang. And somehow he managed to rack up video game debts of $3,255. I don't know what kind of video game debts he could have, but he racked up debts of $3,255. How he did that, nobody knows, because I don't know how you could get in debt. Because even if you went to an arcade, you got to pay to use the machine unless the arcade operator said, it's on me or something like that. But even then, once you hit the first 100, 500, the arcade operator would probably say, okay, that's it.
What was the debt?
He racked up video game debts of $3,255. So he didn't have no way, he's 18 years old, he didn't have no way in his mind to get the money. So he sold one of his kidneys on the black market for $6,510.
Made a profit.
He made a profit, but the going rate for a kidney is $47,000. That's the going, not on the black market, but
he had an opportunity loss of $41,000.
But he sold it for and now China is blaming, the Chinese government say it's the video game industry's fault that this happened. Now, what do you feel about that? As far as, when people kill, a drunk driver kills someone, no one says Bush beer is to blame or alcohol is to blame. They just say that driver is to blame, right? So why is it when it comes to video games, this is one of my, I guess you could call it a pet peeve. Why is it when it comes to video games, the Columbine shooting, major disaster, everybody agrees with that. But they somehow linked that the guys who did it used to play, video games that involve first-person shooters and stuff like that. And so Senator Lieberman, the watchdog in Washington, who has been ever since Night Trap. I don't know if any of you remember that game back on the Sega CD. Night Trap was a full motion video game. Now let me tell you about full motion video. Full motion video is when back in the days they used to actually use real people, actors, in video games to where like you would be a part of the game, and they call that full motion video. So it was no longer, it was a mix between actors and graphics. Not like now everything is CGI. Back then they would have real actors like Ned Beatty. He would be in it and they would film him. He would be doing whatever the game called for, and then they would cut from that into graphics. And then if you had a real deep full motion game like Night Trap, then it was all real people. In other words, just different cut scenes. Like they put together, like when you press A, it would bring in a certain cut scene that would do a particular thing. So there was no graphics involved. They call that full motion video. And since that game came out, Senator Lieberman jumped on the bandwagon and said, because it was a game where these girls had a sleepover. They were friends, high school friends. They had a sleepover, and some like zombies would invade the house or something like that. But they had a sleepover, so obviously they were in their sleep gear and stuff like that. Nothing revealing, just they weren't in regular clothes. And he was like, this video game is showing girls in not regular clothes. And it's like, well, what are they supposed to be wearing if they had a sleepover? It's nothing different than you saw in those teenage movies back in the 80s. So it wasn't, but he took that, and then after that, Mortal Kombat came out shortly after, and that was it. Washington was all ablaze about violence in video games, and so the trend continued. When Columbine hit, Senator Lieberman was back. Saying, those Call of Duties, they caused those people to shoot up the school, and it's like, how can playing a video game make you do anything? Don't you choose to do whatever it is you do in life? Furthermore, didn't that guy have parents? Where were they in all of it? So that's the attitude, and now you have the Chinese government once again saying that video games are to blame for this guy taking his kidney out and paying off video game debts. Well, what do you think about that, Devin? I had to start with this story because this is just a pet peeve of mine that I just feel is wrong, because so many things happen. People are in debt and gambling all the time. They kill themselves, they bankrupt their families, and no one says Vegas is to blame. They say that guy has a problem.
Some people do.
Well, yeah, but I mean in terms of the senators aren't looking to shut down Vegas.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. They're not saying shut down gambling. They're just saying that individual should not have this, he needs help. But when it comes to video games, they say the entire industry is to blame. And I'm saying, how can you do that when so many other things cause the same problems, but you don't attack the industry, you just attack the individual?
Yeah, I don't, well, for me, I don't even worry about the politicians, because they're going to say what,
right,
which blend of coffee is popular right now. And so, I really, call me a liberal, call me whatever, but
right,
I don't believe that we should legislate morality,
right,
or legislate or try to force people to be good.
Right.
You encourage people to be good. You encourage people to have limits. You have, you encourage them to put the game down and go do something positive.
Right.
Games are addictive. Any game, no matter what it is, whether it's what's that one that used to Mario? No, Mario. What's the one that Pac-Man?
Pac-Man. Back in the days,
Pac-Man is addictive. I'm telling you, I know people that just can't put the game down, right?
Even now. Today,
right? So it's not the game
or the creator of
the creator. I know tons of people who would pick up a game and play it for a few minutes and put it down
and do something else.
Yeah,
right.
I know when I get into a soccer game and I'm playing FIFA, I could go for hours.
Right.
So I don't play it regularly. Right. I play it for once in a while, and I do my 50 hours, and I zonk out, and then that's it.
Back to reality.
Yeah, back to reality. But no game is going to tell me to go kill somebody.
Right.
No way. No game is going to take on my kidneys or sell my family. It's just ridiculous. And we need to stop this thing about prescribing morality and putting the blame on on things and drugs. Drugs do not make people take them.
Right.
They don't.
Right.
They're sitting there. The drugs can't just jump in your nose. You got to take it. Or in your veins,
right.
you got to decide to take it.
Exactly.
You need to stop that.
Exactly. And see, and to me, that's where the problem lies. We think that by cutting out certain things, that you're going to stop decisions. No. You're not going to stop people making decisions.
People find them.
People find them. You see, you're not going to stop by taking, and see, I believe this is why, not to get on a religious point, but I believe this is why the Lord created choice.
Yeah.
Because taking away someone's ability doesn't prove loyalty.
And doesn't take away the desire.
And it doesn't take away the desire. So therefore, you let them see what they can have, and then let them choose something else. And that's when you know when a person truly doesn't want to do something or not. So for me, the Chinese government to blame video games right off the bat, this guy's 18, so I don't know what the legal age is in China as far as when you become an adult or whatever. But if he's 18 and it's the same as here, then he's making a choice. You see, he's making a choice. Second of all, he has parents. Oh, well, maybe he doesn't. But the point is, if he doesn't have parents, then he has no one to really guide him.
Let me ask you this. Suppose the makers of the games decide to put something in the process. Mm-hmm. Every time you want to play the game, you stick your finger in a hole in the console, right, and it just chops off a little piece of your finger.
Right.
Then you can play.
Right.
Do you think they would play?
No.
They wouldn't play.
They wouldn't play
they
because
would
they
choose
see the
not
consequences.
They would say, I don't want to lose my finger.
Right.
It's not worth it.
Right.
So that means it's not the game.
Right. Because if that was the case, they would just put this no matter because they can't help it.
Thank you.
They have to do it.
There you go. And I don't want to get into other aspects of life in terms of being header. No.
Yeah. Let's not go. But the point is, this story is flying through the tech world and the video game, and not because of just the fact that the Chinese boy took out his kidney, but the fact that the Chinese government, it's not just like the parents, but the government now, because this is just one of their citizens, and the government has taken a stance to say that video games are to blame, and it's like, that just doesn't make sense. And now you have, these same advocates who will run around and say that, if your child is violent, it's because they play violent video games. No. I don't subscribe to that. I believe that people are violent because they choose not to follow the principles that were set down for us not to be violent, you see. And that's all there is to it. So we just have to take responsibility for our personal actions. If I go out and punch someone, I went out and punched someone. There is no, I was mad, I was frustrated. None of that matters. The point is my actions were controlled by me. And so if this guy went out and sold his kidney for under market value to pay off debts that who knows how he incurred, well, it sounds like a gambling problem too. So maybe China needs to cut gambling out of their thing too,
I think they need to cut alcohol and everything else first.
Yeah. Before they even touch video games. But they're not going to do that because they drink. So that can't be a problem.
And they control it.
Right.
They're drinking, so it's okay.
So it's okay. You see, forget about the others who died, in the cars from drinking and all that. But anyhow, that's the first story we're talking about. We are up against a break. Coming up after the break, we're talking about the Apple iOS 7 offers new security and apps features for business, and LeapPad Ultra Kids tablet unveiled. And also, if you're into exercising, I got a product for you right here on Tech Pulse. So just stay tuned, and we will be right back after this. No, seriously. Yeah, we're going to be right back. I'm still here, aren't I?
For real.
For real, yeah, okay. All right. Now, we're going to be right back. I didn't stop my watch.